Namaste and good morning. Today I'm going to talk on a very hard topic, or I'll try my best to speak about grief or the loss of a close one to us. It's one of the hardest things as a human being we all face. So it is a topic that we mostly avoid. So today I'm going to give it my best effort, since I have dealt with the death of close ones to me also. June 12th this year was 3 years since my mother passed. And next month, July 21st, will be, I didn't even count the years, but my husband left me on July 21st, 2003. So that many years. So, and there are other family members that left also. So it is like that. We all will have to face the death of a loved one day. And how do we deal with that grief? How do we deal with the immediate grief? And how do we deal with ourselves in the few years to come? So that is everyone. You know, there's a story of from Buddha. It was in the times of Buddha. There was this lady. Her name was what was her name? I wrote it down. Let's see. Kisa Gautami. Her son got sick and died. So she was very heartbroken. So she cried a lot and keep asking the villagers for help. You know, each villager she would ask, and they said, just go bury him in the forest. So one day she was just crying so much that one of the elders in the village told her, go and see the Buddha. He can help you. So she took her son in front of the Buddha and she said, please, please make my son live again, you know. So the Buddha said, okay, there is a way I can make him live, but first you must bring me a mustard seed from someone's home where no one has passed away, no one has died. So she felt good about that and started from house to house in the village. So the first house she encountered, she was about to get the mustard seed and she said, did anyone die here? She said, oh yeah, my grandmother passed away, so she could not take that mustard seed. And so she went from house to house looking for that mustard seed. And in every house, it would be somebody else who passed, either a child, an uncle, an aunt, a grandmother, and so forth. So in all of that now, she realized that death is inevitable and it goes in every home. So she came back to the Buddha finally and took her son and buried him, and then went back to the Buddha and sat with him. So this is our dilemma here on earth. We cannot stop that. There are even stories in the Hindu culture where Lord Shiva tries to go to Yamaraj and try to get someone to be alive again. So you can read about that story. So how do we deal with this death? How did I deal with this death? The immediate death for me was a big shock. because he was not sick. My husband, I'm going to talk about the death of my husband. He was not sick. So it was a total shock. So the body, the first reaction, it's in shock. And he died in front of me. I know he went to the hospital where they tried to revive him, but I'm sure he passed while I was in his presence. I could not believe it. And as I recall that day, I was in so much shock. I didn't believe that, that's the only thing I can say. So in the next few days, as people came by, they sang bhajans, it takes a while to process this death. First, you can't believe it, and then people come and you just mingle with them, and you're facing your own emotions inside, which you don't even know what it is you're feeling inside. And so in the Hindu culture, we have this thing where every night somebody comes and they sing bhajans and they talk from the Bhagavad Gita or the Ramayana or whatever. So you're busy, knowing that they will come. Your mind is kept busy, and you just do the day-to-day things. So, and after the funeral and everybody leaves, then the whole thing strikes you because you've seen the funeral, you've seen the body burn, or you've seen it buried or whatever, and it's gone, it's final. So in the next days that come, you cry or whatever, you do whatever. What I did was, I have a particular situation I'll talk about towards the end, later on in the video. But I started to read books. I wanted to know what happened after that. So I absorbed myself in finding out all the literature there was on that, like what people would say, what the scripture would say. And I read a lot of books of many different authors who had passed, who had a death experience, a near death experience, they call them. And also people who wrote about God and all that, because, you needed some kind of answer. So I spent a lot of time with that. My children dealt with the death in a different way. So it's something that we have to learn to know how to grieve also, we have to, it's a very difficult thing. So if you have gotten through those first year, to get through it, I kept my belief in God very firmly. And I thought, well, I have to absorb myself in some good thinking and some good thought. So I did not care what people say. I just immersed myself in singing God's bhajans and kirtans. As I would go to work each day, I kept going to the temple because I wanted to feel that love of God. Because nobody can touch you inside as God can touch you on the inside. It is only through the grace of God that helped me get through my grief. I know what it is to sit and watch TV and you'd feel his hands come and hold yours, or you get a hug, that smile. You don't have that person, in the bed each day to give you a hug, or, just talk about your day or whatever, So I did not sleep in my bed for a little while. I slept in the guest room, after the immediate death. So these are the things, some people, they deal differently. Some people who don't believe in God, well, they might drink some alcohol, or they might just do many crazy things, or try to focus on something different. So there is no really way but to just accept the death and you can't do anything about it. But also, there are good things to think about as the loved one has gone. Remember, that person has a personal journey also. So they have to continue their journey, and you have to continue your journey on the earth, because we do reincarnate and we have many lessons yet to learn and finish. So then we must focus on that, on what to do here, uh, because the people around us, they love us, and the way you feel about the loved one and the death is the same way they would feel if you did not take care of yourself and try to live and be, and get over it. So imagine you how they would feel if you just disappear. So you have to get up and move, put some faith in God, and focus on something that you would like to do or you've always thought of doing. Start getting a hobby or something. And if you're a very introvert person, look for something on the outside to do. If you always doing something on the outside, look for something. For me, meditation helped me. That was my savior, meditation and the meeting of my guru, Sri Nandini Ma. That was what really helped me. It was God's grace. So God graces you, but sometimes you can't see the grace. And the universe speaks to us in different ways. And you have to learn to see that. So you have to, what happens is, as a loved one passes, you try to rekindle that all the time. You think about them, then you cry. And when you do that, you're keeping them away from their journey. You have to let them go on their journey, and you have to not rekindle that all the time, because every time it's like a saw you have in your heart. And you know how when you have a saw in your hand and you keep messing with it, like a little kid might dig it or play with it, and then it bleeds again. Every time you mess with that saw, it becomes bad again. It becomes it's bleed, and then you have to put some medicine on it and put a band-aid on it for it to get better again. In the same way, your heart, it's a saw in your heart, your very heart, because your heart was part of their heart. I loved my husband very much. He loved me very much. We had a very good life together. And our love was, we did not have to say, I love you. The love was just there. I could just be silent and just see his smile, or he can just see my smile. And, before he passed away, it was like a year or so, some time before, one day I had gone to the store, and I took quite a long time. So he was alone home. Well, I don't know where the kids were, but he sort of missed me a lot that day. And as I came home, he said, "You know what, girl? When I die, or if I die before you, I want you to get another husband, because it's hard being alone. So that's the biggest thing, when we are alone." But when he passed, I knew in my heart, I don't want another husband. Oh, I could not find another husband as him, because now I had something of a higher caliber to always compare to. So there was no one who can take his place. So I knew so my days of loneliness was just spread into godliness. I just, focused on reading as much as I can on spirituality, on God, on death, you know, and then I encountered the guru world, and I started to visit gurus and learn about that. So it is so strange, but the week before my husband passed, two I met two enlightened beings. Um, at that time in the temple, Swami Ganapati was going to visit, and my husband was actually in the process of making arrangements for him to visit the temple. So one of my friends, Ritu, said, there's a saint that she's going to visit. And I asked her, can I go? So it was the Sunday on the 13th of July, I think. And it was a Guru Purnima celebrations that I went to visit the saint. The saint turned out to be Sri Nandini Ma. So I met her, I felt things that I write about, so I'm not going to focus on that. But that was like a week. And then the next week passed, and the Monday, and my husband died. So the timeline was so fitting into my life. And after he died, I went to visit her again. She stayed at a devotee's home. It was like a month after or something. I just needed answers. I needed to know something. I did not know what I wanted to know. So I went back to her, and she said, well, he has left you in my care now. So I thought, well, I don't know what that means, but I lived 22 years with my parents and 24 years with my husband. So I lived more of my life with him. And now the balance of my life, I lived a little bit. I met Nandini Ma here and there, but this is my life now. So this is what I got the grace. And then, she touched my life so much. You see, we call her a guru or sat guru. And until you have had an experience with such a being, would you know how they help you from the inside? Because I remember as my husband passed, and that same week, I would want to cry. I would feel like crying and bursting into tears. And then, a voice, it was not a voice, but like a voice would say, don't cry, my daughter. And that was inside my being. And the thing about it is, none of my parents had passed. So who was saying I was their daughter? So when you saw me, how strong I was, it was God's words, God's grace, Guru's grace that were keeping me up. So anyway, I don't want to talk about that because that's my particular thing. So let's go back to how you're dealing with it. So that's what I did. And I wanted to know if my husband was happy. So I even went and visited a psychic, a wonderful lady. And she told me several things about him, and it jived with me that he was happy. So I felt happy that he was happy. So I'm sure the one that passed on is in a happier place, in a happier state. So don't worry about that. It's that grief inside you. So as I was saying, every time you pinch that sore, it bleeds again. So it will never go away if you keep pinching that sore. So you have to let that sore heal and not bring that into your life all the time. If every time you're thinking about him or her, and you're focusing on that, then you're always digging that sore. You have to let the heart heal, and you have to let that person go because they have a personal journey. You can't tie them down there. So think of them. They're gone there, they're seeing the universe or whatever they're encountering, and they can't worry about you. Not that they could, because their state is different, but you must move on in that way. So focus on other things that will help you not worry so much. Like, did you get rid of his clothes? Did you give it away? It took me a while, but what I did after a year or so, I put them in a box, or I put them in the garage. I had so many things to get rid of. There was so much music equipment. Every time I go in that room and see all the musical equipment, I would think of him. And it took me a long while to get rid of it. But that sustenance from the guru, that gave me a lot of help inside. So God, and then I would have these experiences with Lord Krishna, many experiences, So those were the things that came because I focused on finding the truth about death, about the universe. I had to know what is death? Why do we live? Why do we die? What is the essence of life? Who is God? What is God? So if you have nothing else to do, you can do that. Or you can join a gym, or you can do a hobby, like find time, find things to do that can keep you happy in a way while that sore heals. It heals with time. Time is the essence of all healing in emotional traumas. So you don't dig that sore. You let time pass, and as you start to forget, you're not really forgetting him or her, because they are still part of your heart, part of your being. They've taught you so much. You've learned from them. They've learned from you. They've touched your life in so many different ways. So they are part of you. They are part of who you are now. So remember, they will always be a part of you while you're in this human form. In a way, it's sort of your karma until you meditate and you get rid of everything. When you meditate, you get rid of all kinds of things, all kinds of relations, all kind of different things. So you let yourself heal that way. Otherwise, you would end up with tranquilizers. You would have to take medicine. If you just dig that soil, the medicine, the antibiotics will be the tranquilizers, the weed, the alcohol, or stuff like that. So you must let that person go. It is hard. I know it is hard. But you have to walk your own path now. You have to walk your path also. You have to find your answers about things. So letting them go with time. And as time passes, you'll forget a lot of things, will start leaving you, a lot of things. Don't feel like you don't love them because you're not remembering. No, they will always be part of you. So you must let them go. You get rid of you keep some of their things. You can keep one or two things as a reminder if you feel so moved. But the things that you see in front of your face every day that reminds you of them, you have to get rid of that. And you must try meditation. There are many kinds of meditation out there. My meditation is different from most of the meditation out there. And only people who do it or come to the class know what it is about. But this talk is not about that. So I will just, meditation is a broad name, but there are many things. Meditation can heal, it does many things to you, how you see the world, how you see yourself, how you see the universe. All kinds of answers come to you. So these are the very few words, and remember, a soul has to go on his journey as he reincarnates and comes back and learn, and live again. So live a little, take part in the world, and don't be like how they are in India when a husband dies. The widow doesn't have anybody. She wears white, and it's so sorrowful what they do. That kind of culture should no longer exist. Women have, you have to be able to live and be part of the world. So if you've lost someone, it is sad, And you can't get over it, and you have to work on it, because nobody in the world can help you, but only you can help yourself. You can strengthen your relationship with God. You can get angry with Him. I would get angry, but I could never lose that relationship, because it's the very sustenance I have within me. And now God is like, I'm part of God. God's part of me. So the world is like that. So if you don't have a lot of faith in God, then look for something positive. Look for something positive to focus on. Because here in the West, why debt is so hard? Because we hide it. We don't talk about it. You know, it is very hidden. They have the services so quick. You just see the body for a little bit, and it's gone. It's buried. And if you're going to talk to your family or anybody and you bring up that and you say, when I die, so and so, they want to leave that conversation immediately, because they are thinking you will never die. We all die. We all will die. It's inevitable. And from a Star Trek show, my husband used to tease me because I like that show. Resistance is futile. So these are some things or ways that you must kind of look at it, and only when you let it go can the heart heal. So family and friends, they do help a lot by giving you support, giving you good words. So be thankful for that. And I know sometimes you're doing all these things, but when the night comes, it's you're alone. So meditation is the only answer to that. When the mind goes everywhere, when the heart is crying, only the meditation, the energy of meditation can remove that hurt, can remove that thought, because the emotion and the mind is bringing that person into life every day in your mind. So this is why meditation can relieve many things. So anyway, I won't go on no more, but these are some of the things that you can do, and I've written a little bit. So while I'm talking, a lot of ideas are not coming right now, but these are the main ones that I talk about from my life. And I say my namaste to you, and just remember, we all will face it. We all face it. And sometimes we should talk about it with our loved ones. We don't see that enough. This pandemic is showing us how what we are. That is everywhere. That is everywhere. It makes you think about your own life and what you want to do with your life. So a lot of people have lost loved ones, and a lot of people are sad. I sometimes do these videos because I know that somebody will be listening. Somebody may get some help from it. So this is what the world, you see, that teaches us to value our life, value our loved ones, and understand this creation. Because that is why the Buddha got enlightened. When he saw death in the village, he could not understand. We all have to die like that. So he spent so many years roaming the forest doing sadhana, and he had all these realization, and they began to call him the Buddha. So, the enlightened one. So I thought, okay, am I enlightened? I cannot tell you I am enlightened, because it's other people who put that term on the Buddha. The Buddha never said, I am enlightened. He just knew what he was. So one day, I want you to find out who you really are. So a lot of people, they go to a lot of gurus where there are trunks and crowds and so much people, and because they are famous, people think, well, they must be a real guru. So even to find a guru is God's grace. And I am so fortunate that I got the grace of my guru. Well, I'd say spiritual teacher for all who don't know what a true guru is. So I am here standing on my 2 feet. I am here living this life and trying to give a little bit of good vibrations out there, or saying some good things, because the world is in chaos, the world is in turmoil, Anyway, this is what I want to say about grief. I don't want to go into all that stuff. And I pray for God's grace to God to bless you, because if you are listening to this, maybe you've lost a loved one. My love, my blessings, and I pray that your grief soon goes away and you are able to handle life again. Because God has created this world, this universe, everything is out of love, and the most beautiful things come out of pain. A beautiful baby is born through pain. So new things come out of that. So you can be a new person also. And we know we don't really perish, we come back again. So know that God will take care of whoever is passed on. So I say namaste and thank you for listening, and I wish you all the best.